Hello everyone. Tonight I will be doing something a little different from the norm. Today was a very abnormal day as a tornado came through and flattened part of my town, but don't worry. I'm okay. The kitties are okay. There was absolutely nothing wrong with the house or anything like that. But it did kind of put me in a strange kind of mood. And because of that and some of the things I've read regarding X Rebirth, I feel a bit surly. And that's why I am doing this video. So what happened? Well, I hopped onto Reddit and went to the X3 Terran Conflict subreddit. And there was a post about the director of Egosoft had made a post on the Steam forum for the game and had addressed some of the issues with the game. Now, I'm going to read his his post and then come back to it with some of my own input. Here goes. About our ongoing work, patches, updates, bug fixing on X Rebirth. Hello. Unfortunately, I have not written much here since the release. First, I would like to apologize to those of you who have had technical problems. I have started a thread in the Steam forums where I have listed the most common errors and have now collected a lot of information about this. All of this will of course be made available here in our support forum as soon as our server is able to remain stable under the load. Second, I would like to say how amazed we are all here about the success of the game. Number 1 on Steam for several days in a row at this time of year when the big hitters come out. Wow, we never expected that. It's crazy to see that more than 10,000 people are playing our game at any one time on Steam. Even more if you include those who are in offline mode. Madness. Great though it is to see that the game is so successful. Many people are having a lot of fun with it. It pains me to see every case where the game causes problems. Sorry folks, I can only apologize for that. Now, on to the reason for this post. I want to set out our priorities for the next few weeks. These are, as it were, the results of feedback so far. Number 1, language bugs. The German Betty, French text, and other problems will be fixed. Number 2, true crash bugs fixed. There are undeniably some program-related crashes, and we're trying to sort these out by sending those who experience particularly large numbers of crashes special versions of the EXEs. From feedback, it seems that some people are affected much more frequently than others by crashes. At the beginning of the week, we will build a group of new computers to try to reproduce your problem, say motherboard, CPU, etc. Those of you who believe you are particularly badly affected and know it is not safe to use a 32-bit Windows should contact us at info@egosoft.com for the special EXE. Number 3, AI bugs with trade ships. Please make sure you're using the trade menu correctly before assuming you are affected by this bug. Performance improvements. It seems ironic that most customers who are particularly dissatisfied with the performance are those with the fastest computers. This may partly be because we've made no special attempt to optimize for fast PCs. It even seems as though the most extreme high-end PCs barely have higher frame rates than mid-ranged ones. We'll be tagging this issue aggressively and we'll be stocking up on high-end hardware for tests to try out things like SLI and hex core systems. Of course, optimizations will also benefit other systems. Tips for configuration in my post on the Steam forum and in the Egosoft support forum. Improvements for the near future. We will now begin to organize our plans and your wishes by priority. There are a few major development areas that are sure to take us into the beginning of February of 2014 for an update, and many small things that we would like to address as soon as possible. Here are just a few examples. Small talk on platforms. Once you unlock a reward, you can ask for all the rewards we currently have already. If you ask for a good NPC, you can further filter by job type. So you effectively find the best pilot in your vicinity. NPC classes are to be clearly marked to make sure who does what. Improved joystick support. Improved menus. Feedback regarding some menus, which should be improved accordingly. What I hear the most often at the moment are problems with managing the trade order list. This should be shown in every ship that is in your squad and can be removed from the info menu. There are other improvements in various menus that will need to happen gradually over several updates. Shortcuts. Many veterans may miss hotkeys such as T for next target, Shift D to dock, Shift R for the property list, etc. Okay, this should give you a brief insight into our current work. For those of you able to play without problems, haha, I wish you continued fun. For those who have technical problems, and excuse me, as can of course be seen here on the forum, there are many of you. I want to apologize again. Thank you for the patience. Thank you for all the huge success, Bernd. Okay, let's go back and take a look at this. I'd particularly like to go to the order of their priorities. Really, number one problem with the game is language bugs? I don't think so. The number one problem with the game is, well, let's see, the optimization, the crashes, the UI, which is horrible, and the lack of staple features for commanding your AI to do simple things that have been in every X game to date. I would also like to call attention to number 3. AI bugs with trade ships. Now, this quote right here, please make sure you're using the trade menu correctly before assuming you're affected by this bug. Here's the thing. This game does a piss poor job of telling you how to actually use the trade menu. I've been streaming this game for, let me see, let me take a look at my hours played on this game. I've played this game for 31 hours. About 98% of that time, I was streaming. I had to rely on my fans and my channel telling me little snippets of information here and there to actually be able to piece together how to actually use the trade menu. Even then, there are core features lacking from the trade menu that were there in previous titles. For example, to my knowledge, you can't set up automatic trading, which is pretty damn important. So I know that Bernd isn't a native English speaker. So I have to wonder if when he says, please make sure you are using the trade menu correctly before you're assuming you are affected by this bug, I have to wonder if maybe it's something lost in translation, or if he really is being condescending when he says that. Now, on to another quote. Okay, so let's see, where are we at here? Okay. This was originally posted by Hostlayer regarding giving orders to your ships. I'll make it simple for you. Tell me how, no, honestly, I'm ready to prove you wrong here. Tell me how to make 2 fighters follow a separate trader and throw in a Delta V formation. Be as detailed as you want, and don't you dare dance around the topics. I can do that with about 4 menus in X3. Impress me, because right now I'm not impressed. I'm not even angry I lost money. I'm angry a good game and its dev is going down the toilet and there's nothing I can do to save them. Bernd replies, first step is you assign the fighters and blah blah blah. The important part is down here when it says, Bernd says this, but let me say it once again. X Rebirth is not X4. We always said that. Maybe we are going to make an X4 one fine day, but this is not it. Oh, really? Okay. Sure. You're technically correct that this is not X4. No, the title is X Rebirth. Okay, fine. You win that part. However, let's look at how the game is advertised. And this is directly from the Steam page, which is what most of us saw when we went to pre-order this game. Let's look at features, and here they are. Trade, a fully simulated economy that means your actions really do matter. Travel the space highways and find profit in gigantic space cities swarming with ships and drones. Every ship you see has a task. Stop a freighter from reaching its destination and its cargo will be stopped too, causing prices to rise. Fight, from small-scale skirmishes to epic fleet encounters. Battles in the X universe know no limits. Choose to fight for the military, work for the police, or be a lawless pirate, or if you prefer, just fight when you need to defend yourself. It's up to you. Take action right into massive structures. Target turrets and shield generators to weaken your enemy. Damage engines and ship drives to prevent their ships from escaping or stop their factories producing to cripple the economy. Build! Create your own empire, from trading stations to large factories, farms to high-tech military complexes. Everything can belong to you. Build for trade and profit or to strengthen your military presence and dominate your own enemies. Extend and upgrade your stations to make them operate more efficiently, with every element visible in glorious animated detail. Harvest your own resources to keep your empire running smoothly. Think. A rich, detailed history and deep, complex plot await you, but you are free to decide when and where to take part. Explore the X universe at your own pace. Choose your own path and create your own destiny. Get up close and personal with aliens and humans alike, land on stations, meet people, and then accept missions from them or hire them as crew for members for your ships. Trade, fight, build, think. In the X universe, the biggest sandbox this side of the galaxy. Okay, well, to me, that sounds a lot like an X game. In fact, if you look at the other X games in the series, their ads say pretty much the same thing. Not only that, but this game takes place after the events of the last X game, and by all intents and purposes is a direct sequel. Ergo, when he says, this X Rebirth is not X4, we always said that, you are in fact wrong. Very wrong. I would say lying. There's a term that's thrown around a lot today, these days, and that term is entitled. It is a term that fanboys like to use often when anyone has the gall to criticize their favorite game. Well, let me just say that we are entitled, but the real meaning of the word entitled is maybe not what the fanboys are thinking. So, we are entitled to a game that works. We're entitled to get a full experience for our $50. We are entitled to receive a game after we've paid for it that does what it says on the box, or in this case, the Steam profile for the game. We should not have trouble doing anything that says, let's take a look here. Right here. Fight, from small-scale skirmishes to epic fleet encounters. Well, epic fleet encounters? Here's the thing. As far as I can tell, you can't give orders to your ships to go and patrol from point A to point B. You can't set up a flotilla of ships. Even if you do have a cap ship on autofollow, which is the only order you can give them to follow you, they will not defend themselves. If you are being attacked, they will not come to your rescue. It takes a direct attack on them for them to open up an attack. There are no options to say, attack my target, form up on my wing, have a close formation or a spread out formation. These are staples in any space game ever that has had wingmen or any other type of AI assigned to give you some control over what they are doing. So we are entitled. We're entitled to a game that does what it says, and we're not receiving that right now. Now, the reason why I felt compelled to make this video is because I am frustrated with the game, but I'm frustrated because I can see the nugget of a great game here. When I play it, I generally enjoy it. The graphics are incredibly beautiful. Well, except for the characters, but that's a topic for another discussion. They are atrocious. But in space, the space graphics are amazing. They are beautiful. The music is sweeping and it fits the scene, makes the mood awesome. I actually particularly enjoy the flying, although the combat needs a lot of work because AI is also fundamentally broken. Here's an example. Last night on my stream, and there's a VOD up somewhere if you feel like digging through all the hours of it, maybe one of these days I could be asked to actually make a clip of it, today is not that day. But last night on my stream, I found a Warden Destroyer, which is a fairly large destroyer. This is a big Battlestar looking ship that is just bristling with guns, swarm missile launcher turrets, plasma launcher turrets, all kinds of crazy stuff. And it sends swarms of drones at you. The AI was so bad in this game that I, solo, took one down. Now, I wasn't able to capture it because the boarding AI is so broken that no matter what I tried, it would not capture. I went through, hacked everything on the ship, and then sent my Marines over. Didn't work. I reloaded a save, went through, destroyed all the subsystems, did all the thing Yisha tells you to do, sent the Marines, didn't work. Now, boarding and capturing ships is a core feature of the X games, at least since X3. It might have been an X2, but I'm not a huge X player. I've played the last 3 games, but I haven't played them to the extent that I would call myself an expert. But I do know that boarding was a big thing in X3. So this is a core feature that's in the game that is not working, and it hasn't been addressed yet either by Bernd, as far as I'm aware. And not only that, but it's a little ridiculous to assume that I, solo as a player, could take on a a destroyer with my tiny little ship. And let me tell you, I have not upgraded my weapons at all. I still have the Mark 1 crappy gun that you start with. I still have the Mark 1 plasma cannon. I still have Mark 1 shields. I still have Mark 1 everything. I haven't upgraded the ship because, as far as I can tell, that's broken too. I tried to buy new shields. They wouldn't go on the ship. I couldn't buy them at all. So I took down one of the biggest ships in the game myself with no help, just doing some little maneuvers here and there. And I'm not saying that I'm good at this game. I'm not saying I'm a great pilot or anything like that. I'm sure that once I step foot into the Star Citizen dogfighting alpha, I am going to get my ass handed to me by somebody who is far superior to me in PvP dogfighting. It's just that this game is so broken, I'm able to pull off stuff like that with not a lot of effort. Talking about other bad AI problems, let's say I'm attacking a swarm of Reavers, maybe 3 Reavers in a little formation, and there's Reavers maybe 2 kilometers away. Well, those other Reavers will come to aid their friends. They will just sit there and float around, allowing me to easily dispatch their friends, and then I can go and deal with them. Moreover, let's talk about missions where the enemies attack a station. More often than not, you will find the enemies bouncing off of the station, not even trying to defend themselves from you, as they blindly bounce off the station, quote-unquote attacking it. Let's also talk about cap ships. The turrets on the cap ships are incredibly slow to react to your presence. I'm guessing this is one of the reasons why cap ships that are friendly won't attack targets. In addition to not having an order available to say, hey, attack my target, you can't do that. They just don't react to anything that's around them, anything that's in the range of their guns. They don't react to it. It makes the game feel fundamentally broken. I don't know if this is a design decision or a bug, because so far, the design decisions are horrible. If you want to access and see your properties that you own, you have to press Enter, number 2, number 2. You have to press 3 different keys to bring up the property menu to see, so you can click more menus to actually take a look at your property. On that menu, or any menu that I've been able to tell, you're not able to rename your ships. So tough luck if you have more than one type of ship class. You're not going to know which ship is which. Oh, that ship that was trading over here, well, you just mistaken it for this other ship that's trading over here. Well, have fun with that. And looking in the Steam trade, let's see, it says trade. You can set up an empire, right? Okay, create your own empire from trading stations to large factories. Okay, well, you cannot create an empire if you can't manage it. All you're doing at that point is building lots of ships. Ships that you can't really give detailed commands to. So, this should not be happening. I understand that when X games typically come out, they're typically buggy. Well, yeah, this game has bugs. It crashes now and then. I have to restart the game every hour. There are major problems with optimization. All of that I can excuse. What I cannot excuse are these design decisions where functionality has either been removed or buried under menu after menu after menu that you can only access by pressing enter 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9, and 1. That's an exaggeration, but it is kind of that bad in certain situations. It shouldn't be this hard. The game itself has an in-game computer screen that you turn around and look at. You should be able to access all of that crap there easily, like you would a Windows interface. I honestly don't understand who designed this interface. I don't understand what they were thinking. It's like they were designing it. It's like they were designing it knowing full well how to actually do it. So they're thinking of it from a programmer perspective, not a UI design perspective, not something that's usable perspective. And that's why it's so bad. It's also, I feel like I also should mention the plot, because it does say a rich, detailed history and deep, complex plot await you. False. It is not complex. The plot is horrible. Okay, so far in the plot, I've been dragged by my nose from point A to point B. I've been given ships only to have them completely disappear from my property list with no explanation. Yisha is constantly babbling about shit that I don't care about, and my character blindly says, okay, let's do that, without any input from the player. That's not a complex plot. Not to mention, it's not even very well written. Yeah, the voice acting is horrible. You know what? It's an indie company, I can excuse that. But I can't excuse the actual writing, the actual words that they were given when they did this horrible voiceover. The dialogue is so wooden and so simplistic. The characters are so one-dimensional. It feels like a child came up with the idea for this story and they're playing it out in their backyard, plain space. That's what it feels like to me. It's not an epic story like something you find in Battlestar Galactica. That's a high mark. It's not even something that's like an allegory, like something out of Star Wars. It's not. It's just this simple thing, and it's this... I'm like 11 hours into the game. No, more than that. 30 hours, technically. And yeah, I have kind of fucked off and done my own thing. My whole stream last night was me trying to capture that fucking destroyer. And it didn't happen. But I have spent a lot of the time playing the plot, and it's one glorified tutorial. But it's not a good tutorial. It's like, press this, this, and this to do this, but it doesn't really tell you how to access the more advanced functions of it, which leads me to believe there aren't advanced functions for anything in this game. I don't know what to say, folks. This was a once great series. And to see that they're saying, oh, this is an X4, That worries me because it makes me think that these core problems with the game won't be fixed. There's kind of a sentiment that the modders will fix it. Modders shouldn't have to fix your game for you. And indeed, if this game isn't accepted by the mod community, then it won't be modded. It's not a great but flawed gem. Well, it's not a great but flawed gem like Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, where people are still making bug fixes and patches and things like that for it. There is a good game, but it's just buried under this encrusted mass of crap. I can see that there's a simulation under the surface that's actually working. I followed one of their little trade ships into the space lanes and left when it departed, and it was actually there and it's delivering stuff. But the game's, it goes out of its way to make that ridiculously hard to access and control any of that. And I think it's absolutely false to say that this was not intended to be X4. It clearly was, or they wouldn't have been working on it for 7 years. I'm trying to gather my thoughts here because I could rant about this all day. Here's the thing. We are living in this renaissance of space games and space sims. It's great. We've got titles such as Kerbal Space Program and Star Maid and a lot of other games that are kind of out in early access form. And coming in a year, 2 years, we're going to have really big, really anticipated titles such as Elite Dangerous and the big daddy of them all, Star Citizen. These are games that have passionate fan bases and passionate developers behind them. They are also direct competition for the X series. When Bernd says, and I quote, "X Rebirth is not X4, we always said that. Maybe we are going to make an X4 one fine day, but this is not it." Bernd, there will not be an X4 if you don't fix this game and fix it to the way that it should be, to do everything that it says on the Steam page. People will just go play Elite or Star Citizen. They won't put up with this. It is very clearly not the game that was advertised. If you go and look at the previews, if you look at the Steam store page, the game simply doesn't do what it was advertised to do. And to say otherwise is an outright lie. This video is running on, so I should probably wrap it up. I do want to thank you for listening, and I hope I didn't turn many of you away from my YouTube channel. But if you are considering buying this game, please do not do it until many patches have come out and it has been fixed by the community or whatever the hell is going to happen. Don't do it. Save the money. Maybe pledge on Star Citizen or just save your money. I don't care. Go buy Call of Duty. Because it's probably more playable than this. Until next time, I will see you in the verse.